About to do our tire review video, and it's a lot of work putting down the cameras, picking them up constantly, but we'll get it figured out. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. In today's video, we're doing a full review on the 35-inch AMP AT tires we are currently running on our 2024 F-150 Tremor. For those of you who've been following the channel since we got the truck, the first set of tires we put on the truck were the AMP RT tires, and you guys know I was not a fan of them. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, make sure you guys go check out that video if you are interested. But the AMP RT tires were not good. They were hot garbage in my opinion. They didn't hook up very well. They performed horribly in the snow, and the overall vibration and the feedback to the steering wheel was not great. However, these AMP AT tires are a whole different story. I actually ran these tires on my last truck, my 2018 F-150, and I was a huge fan of them, so we had to give them another try because I don't want to sit here and bash AMP on one set of tires I had that didn't perform well. So this is a 305/70/18 setup on this truck, currently on a 2.5-inch level, and for those of you wondering, I do rub. I'm on an 18/9 with a -15 offset wheel, and I do rub on the back corner here. And obviously the rubbing doesn't reflect on the actual tire, it's just the size that we went with. We're a little too big and maybe just a little bit too much offset. So we can always do some trimming in the back there to try to mitigate that rubbing from happening, but we are gonna leave it for the meantime because it's usually not an issue. I only notice it to be an issue when I do some off-roading. Now if we take a look at this tire, one major thing that I hated about the RT were how many rocks got stuck in these tires. Obviously you can see we're in a bit of a gravel pit here, sand pit, and there are rocks and stuff, but these tires do not hold on to rocks like the AMP RT did. They do a very good job of ejecting them and just overall not getting stuck in the tire treads. Because there's nothing worse when you're driving down a pavement street and all you hear is the clicking of the rocks in the tire treads. Now the tires itself perform really well for a more aggressive all-terrain tire. They're typically not this aggressive. This could almost fall into an RT/MT style. It is quite aggressive for your typical AT. When it comes to the drivability of them, there is no feedback in the steering wheel. These balance very, very easy. They feel very planted and very stable on the road, especially even at high speeds. If you're passing and you're hitting, 80, 90 miles per hour, they feel very smooth. There's no vibration. And these tires don't wander. They don't pull your truck to the left or the right. We are constantly overcorrecting because they have trouble staying center. They perform in all the different weather types, rain, snow, no matter what the road conditions are, gravel, sand, pavement, asphalt, they perform very, very well. And overall, I've been very happy with them. Now, I don't do a ton of off-roading, so I can't really speculate how well these would perform in like the real thick of it. Obviously, I'm in a bit of an off-road environment right now, but I'm not going to do a whole ton because if I do get stuck, I have no one for miles to come grab me. But in an environment like this, if you're just doing trail riding, these AT tires are perfect. They'll absolutely hold up, and I have no doubts that they would perform in the thick of it as well. These are 10-ply tires, and they have a very beefy sidewall, especially when you rim down. I used to be a huge fan of running 20-inch wheels on my truck, and lately, for some reason, and maybe just because of the overall off-road aggressive look of the Tremor, I'm really digging the smaller size wheels, the 18 and 17s wrapped in 35s. Now, like I said a moment ago, because I work with Apex Ribbon Tire, I will be changing out this setup frequently on this Tremor. And if you see me in a different video down the road with a different tire and wheel setup, it's not because the previous one was junk. It's just that I got an opportunity to run a different style of tire and wheel, and I will be doing follow-up reviews on those as well. So not only do these tires perform well, they're very quiet on the highway. You get a very slight hum, but it's not nearly as aggressive as some tires I've had in the past where it feels like a swarm of bees is following your truck. You're obviously gonna get a bit of a hum, especially with the spaced out lugs like this, but it's nothing annoying. Your ears aren't bleeding by the end of your ride. At the end of the day, they are a quiet tire for what they are. And maybe we'll have to go through the whole AMP lineup on this truck. We've had the RTs, we're currently running the ATs. Maybe the next tire we try is the MTs and see how those perform. And I haven't had the tires on the truck for that long, so I can't speak on the wearability of these and how long they're gonna last overall. They don't wear funny, like they wear really well. I am due for a tire rotation, but I've been very happy with so far the overall wear of these tires. There's no cupping, there's no balding in any spots, there's no cracking on the sidewalls. I've been happy with the quality of these tires so far, and I think you can get 40 or 50,000 miles out of these tires no problem. And if I bought a new truck tomorrow and I had to decide on a tire to put on it, I would not hesitate to consider AMP AT tires as my option. At the end of the day, these tires check off a lot of boxes to concerns you may have. They're affordable, they perform great, the drivability is great, they look great, they look very aggressive, they don't throw rocks, they're not very loud, and there's lots of dealers that carry them. I don't work with AMP, I don't owe them anything. I just want to bring you guys an honest review on these tires. I was very impressed with them. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, make sure you guys comment below, I will answer. Aside from that, that's where we're gonna end this video off. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.